What's going on, guys? Tony Ivanov here, lead mentor at TradeBuddy. Today we had an awesome day in the chat room. We completely nailed our watch list on LEDS. I personally made $1,100 today. We had my daily gains, made 444 bucks. We had Tommy made 244 bucks, and we had Burgett made 133 bucks. We had another trader made $619 and a dozen more others that I couldn't take pictures of. Very awesome day. We nailed this last night. If you didn't watch last night's video lesson, I know I did put it out a bit late. I'm sorry about that. There were some issues with the formatting and it got out pretty late. But we had our watch list last night. Had LEDS on there. Also had CNET, which ran, had KONE, and yeah, just a very awesome day today. So we're gonna break down the trades. We're gonna look at exactly where I bought, where I sold, and why I did what I did. So make sure you stay tuned through the whole video so you learn as much as you can. But first, if you didn't know, every single day we give away $25 and it goes to a random commenter from the previous video lesson. So whoever commented last night, you're in luck, because this is a very small drawing. There's only 24 people. So make sure you guys comment, because you know, people seem like they stopped commenting. Increases your chances. Here's John Mattern. He says, steep learning curve getting started, but I appreciate your videos for making some things easy to digest. Can't speak. Yeah, it really is kind of a steep learning curve, but if you have the right community and you have the right teachers, then it can really not be so hard. So thank you very much, John. Thank you for watching the videos. I appreciate the support. Make sure you send me a YouTube message with your email address and I'll send over that 25 bucks to you. So let's get into this action. So LEDS was straight off of the watch list. Let's just bring up that real fast. I said watch for continued momentum into a breakout over the nice round number of $5. Has history of huge spikes and is a China sympathy play. 2.13 million share flow. So what I mean by the China sympathy play is that yesterday there was pretty big news that came out of China. The president announced that he is going to be pretty lenient as far as opening up the Chinese economy. He's going to be lowering tariffs, especially on automobiles, which is very good for the US. And if you've been living under a rock, then you wouldn't know that for the past 2 or 3 weeks we've been in a pretty tense moment as far as the US and China goes, increasing tariffs back and forth. But it looks like China's easing up, so that made the markets have a very nice bounce back, and that made a bunch of stocks yesterday, mainly Chinese stocks, have great moves. So essentially what I did was I noticed that yesterday a bunch of Chinese stocks ran, like KONE and CHFS. KONE's been running for 3 days now, had a spike today as well. This is a Chinese play. CNET also has been running for the past few days. This is also a Chinese play. So basically, like, I recognized the trend and I said, okay, what other stocks are there that are low float and are from China? So LEDS was one that came up on my scanners. If you look at the daily chart, this has history of previous spikes. It's gone from like as low as $2.65 and hit a high of $10.49 on this big green candle. Here on this day, it opened up at $3.88, hit a high of $8.25. So it definitely has history of big spikes. And what I noticed is that ever since February, it looks like it hasn't been able to break over $5. And we had a very strong bounce here. So I said, okay, if we can get a continued run tomorrow into that break over $5, that'd be a very nice buy point, by anticipating a morning spike, because it has a low float. It's a Chinese play, very nice breakout, has history of running, very awesome setup. So I actually had to get in during pre-market, which I usually don't do, but you know, I had to take the play because, you know, like, it broke over that mark, the $5 mark. So unfortunately my entry got filled at $5.39. I only bought 500 shares because I usually do not trade pre-market. So, you know, it dropped back down pretty hard, but my hard stop was $5. Pretty big risk, but I wasn't gonna take a loss into here when the trend was still intact. I drew this trend line down here, just to draw the trend, and then let me get this button away. And then we broke through that. Unfortunately, I was making coffee at that time, so I couldn't buy more shares, but we broke through that and we just squeezed all the way up. I took my profits way too soon on that one. Eventually, I sold my shares at $6.66, so I made just over $1 per share. So that was instantly like a $500 winner there. It squeezed up to $8.74 eventually, so I definitely missed out on that one. I didn't trade it again after that because I missed the play, but that's okay. Also, my hotkeys were having some issues again, just regular technical difficulties. But that's okay because next stock that popped up on the low float scanner was CNET. Recognized this one because one, it was on our watch list, so I immediately knew that it was a Chinese play. So got in here on CNET at $3.04. So I got in pretty high, but it didn't run up that much prior to this spike, and it has history of doing a massive move. Of course, ideally lower the better, but the reason why I got in at $3 is because that's a big mental number to break. So my goals on this trade weren't a big win. My goals on this trade were to have a quick scalp, and essentially what my plan was to buy over the break of 3, anticipating a move through 325 that would bring in a ton of volume, and then the stock would get halted. So that was my main overall plan. And if that didn't happen, I was going to get out because it was very high risk. You don't want to hold this when it goes against you because it can drop all the way down. So we spiked up. We hit a high of 319. We couldn't go any higher. Once I saw that level 2 action, that it wasn't spiking any higher, I sold it, took my profits. So I sold those shares at 315, so made around 10 cents per share, added $100 to the name. Next trade was on GBR. GBR was yet again one more, I believe they're a China play. Actually, no, they're not. But this does have history of spiking. It is a bit choppier, so we got in on this breakout right here. I bought 1,000 shares at $1.48, and I took my very quick profits at $1.54 because it was looking very weak. So added some more money on that trade, and then I traded DELT. This one was a scratch. Didn't make any money on this one. Bought 128, sold 130, so I guess I made 2 cents per share, but there was commissions too. So this one didn't really go anywhere whatsoever. I bought this one because it also has a history of spiking. It's a low float, so these all have the same overall theme. They're low floats, low priced, and they have history of spiking. So we were just getting a ton of action today. And then I missed a trade, actually. I took one trade on KONE in between that. KONE was one that I left a ton on the table. KONE, I bought 1,000 shares at $8.91, so right up here. I bought because we had this nice breakout over $8.70. I didn't really see this move in here. If I did, then I would have bought the break over $8.50, that nice round number, the first green candle to make a new high, anticipating the breakout and the squeeze on up. So that would have been a very major win, but it's okay. Bought 1,000 shares at $8.84, sold those pretty quickly at $9.17. I actually entered my price at $8.54, so that would have been a pretty big loss. Way down, where was that? $8.54. I know I sold in $9.43 into this spike. So luckily, the market makers gave me some good luck and executed me at 917, so I pulled out a nice $300 win on that one. So all in all, made $1,100 on the day. Only worked up until my last trade that I did was at 9:47. So you know, I got up at 9 to do my live stream and make my watch list in the morning. So I worked for less than an hour today, and I pulled out $1,100. So very, very, very awesome day. And one thing that I do want to note is that even though my account is bigger, look at my share sizes. I only played with maximum 1,000 shares per trade. So it's not like these only work with big accounts. These patterns are what helped me get to this big account. So, you know, don't be discouraged. I started out with $3,200. I have many, many, many students who start out with, you know, as low as 1,000. I wouldn't recommend going any lower than 1,000 because you do need to have some size to really make it grow. But, you know, of course, the first thing that I always recommend all of my students who join my program is that you don't want to start with real money anyways. You want to start with learning first and then practicing what you learned in paper trading, which is basically trading with fake money. And then once you're consistent with that, then tackle real money and tackling your emotions. You never want to jump in with trading immediately all in with all your money because it's, of course, very risky. And that's why 90% of traders lose. They don't want to put in the time. They don't want to sacrifice the time and practice first. But me personally, I practiced paper trading for almost an entire year. So it definitely is worth it, guys. Invest in your education, invest in your future. You got to put in the time and you got to study, you know. Doctors, they study for 10 plus years. Software engineers, they study for 6 plus years. So, you know, having to study for a year or two to make $1,000 in an hour isn't so bad. So if you guys want more information on the TradeBuddy subscriptions, my live stream and the chat room, click the link down below. I also have a free ebook of how to day trade every single morning. That's the first link down below. And you can also check out my lifetime mentorship program, which includes lifetime access to the TradeBuddy community. So if you've watched this whole video, then I'm assuming that you enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, leave a subscription, leave a comment down below for a chance to win $25. And I hope to see you guys in the chat room. Thank you, guys.